Good morning. We're continuing in Romans 5, and we're going to look at verse 9 and 10. And I want to highlight something for you here. But to begin, we're going to mention Luke chapter 6, verse 35, which reads this way: "But love your enemies, and do good, and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great. You will be sons of the Most High, for He is kind to the ungrateful and the evil." So the call to love our enemies is rooted in God's kindness to His enemies. I want you to keep that in mind as I read for you Romans 5, 9 and 10. "Since therefore we have now been justified by His blood, much more shall we be saved by Him from the wrath of God. For if while we were enemies, we were reconciled to God by the death of His Son, much more now that we are reconciled, shall we be saved by His life." I think sometimes when we come to Christ and think about our salvation, we think of God sort of enhancing our life. He met us and He gave us a new life, which is true. He's given us abundant life, John 10:10. It's true. But there's this sense that comes along with that our lives are now what they could not have been without Jesus. And that's true enough. But I think it minimizes something, and that is that you and I, prior to coming to Christ, were absolute enemies of God. The directions of our heart, our motives, were not neutral. They were sullied. We were theologically totally depraved. That doesn't mean we were as bad as we could be, but it means that every part of us had a color of darkness. Every part of us was implicated and diminished by the fall. As a result, we were enemies of God. But God rescued us. This is the glory of the saving love of God, is that He reaches not to people who are in neutral, not to people who are in a kind of middle zone, but people who are absolutely opposed to Him. That we've been justified, we've been saved from His wrath. While we were enemies, we were reconciled to God. So I want you to just think of redemption today as a remarkable gift, because you were an enemy of His. Whether you felt it, whether you realized it, you were an abject enemy of His. Even in your attempts at righteousness, you were attempting to do things your own way, but God in His grace reached down and opened your eyes and rescued you. Praise be to His name. So this morning's thought is one of praise for the fact that you, as an enemy of God, were reconciled to Him. May the Lord bless you today.